All right, welcome back to the stream, to the channel, to the show. Don't have a name for the night stream yet, but I think I should come up with one because I'm going live a lot lately. So I think I should really come up with a catchy name. Maybe I'll put it out, put a poll out and see what people think. But I wanted to pop on tonight and just talk about everything going on, polling, and just a lot of numbers coming. And I feel like it was like a fire hose of numbers that just flooded in today. So I want to talk about that. I want to talk about an article, a Substack piece written by Dan Pfeiffer. If you know who Dan Pfeiffer is, he was an Obama guy. He was very instrumental in Obama's reelection, Democrat Party insider. And you're probably thinking, well, why are you making us read that or focus on that? Dan Pfeiffer wrote a piece about, which I have been warning about for a long time now, that young men are voting in large numbers for Trump. And when I say I've been warning about it, I kind of been just talking about it. I brought it up when I was on with Mark Halpern and basically said, because a lot of the people on his podcast tend to be older, and that's not Mark Halpern's fault. The show is really good. Podcast is really good, but it's just there's a lot of kind of establishment type people on there. I try to make this camera a little bit lower. I feel like I'm looking way up at you. But there's a lot of kind of establishment smart pollsters on his show, but a lot of them tend to be 50 plus, and Mark has made an effort to bring in young people on the show, and I think that's why I got my opportunity there to be on the show. Is my gain on the right? Okay, yeah, good. I think that's fine, right? So I just a little bit of housekeeping here. So he's trying to bring in younger people. So when I went on there, I said, look, there's a lot of young people who are voting for Trump, specifically young men. And I said, it's anecdotal. This is not some kind of scientific poll I'm conducting or anything, but I am talking to a lot of people. I talk about politics with people. I talk about events with people. You know, I'm not out there sharing my political views all day long or anything in person. You know, you watch my Twitter presence or my X presence, and you might think that I'm like some crazed maniac or something, but then people meet me in real life, really how you are online. Well, no, because you know, in real life. But point is, I do try and bring the topic up in a non-confrontational way just to kind of see where people are, what they're thinking about. And that's why I love looking at polling, and that's why I love looking at all this stuff. And believe me, there have been many days where I've thought to myself, I'm just not going to pay attention anymore because it's just a lot to digest. But of course, growing the channel, growing my social media presence, I can't really just not pay attention to it. And so I like, you know, picking people's brains, trying to figure out what they're thinking and getting kind of a lay of the land, because now, mind you, Florida used to be a swing state. It's not really anymore. But I do feel like the area I am in is an area where it's kind of more 50-50. And it's easier to kind of use it as a barometer to where everyone is or where many people are already. And so my discovery, and this is going back probably a year now, a year, is that there are a lot of young men who love Trump. And I knew that before. Obviously, this wasn't like a revelation to me. But this mic needs the blue pill. This wasn't a revelation to me. But what was a revelation is the amount of Hispanic young men who really like him. And as a matter of fact, I've been telling people that of all the young men I talk to about politics and about Trump, Trump's biggest fans and the ones who really love him are the Hispanic ones, which is interesting. You'll talk to white young men, and a lot of them will go, yeah, you know, yeah, I'm for Trump, but I kind of wish DeSantis was the nominee or something to that effect. Or they'll always give you like a caveat. They'll always give you, well, yeah, Trump, but, right? But then I talk to Hispanic young men, and, you know, this Cubans, Colombians, whatever, everything. And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, Trump, man, Trump, Trump, Trump." So, and I've been trying to think because I'm kind of a maniac like this, and I'm always in my head about this stuff. I've been trying to think, well, why is it that Hispanic men are so gung ho on Trump and the white men are kind of apprehensive about him? And the only conclusion I can come up with is, and this is a very there is no basis for this. This is just a gut feeling of someone who's been following politics for a long time. My feeling is that I think the reason why is many of them, including the ones who I speak to and the ones I can think of right now, were not born in America. Colombia, Cuba, Ecuador, places like that. And I think when they come here, I mean, many of them have been here for a long time, some maybe not so long. But when they see Trump, they don't really see an authoritarian figure like the left tries to paint him out to be, because they come from places where there are real authoritarians. So when they hear liberals say that like Trump is an authoritarian, they're like, "What? Like, what are you talking about?" Or conversely, maybe they are more immune to that style of leadership and they don't really mind it as much, or maybe they even like it. So I haven't really pinpointed or put a finger on the real reasons why, and I'm sure there are many reasons why. There's never just one reason why something is the way it is, but it's just an interesting discovery, talking to people, and it's been something over the past year that has been pretty peculiar to me. So, and many of them will refer to Bukele. Is that how you say his name? Or I can't remember. Who is the guy in El Salvador? Um. Anyway, they point to him as like, we need, America needs a leader like him, and so you sort of start to see that. Well, maybe it's not that they don't see Trump as an authoritarian figure or as a strongman leader. Maybe they actually do see him like that and they like it. It's not that they don't see him like that and they, you know, brush off the accusations that that's what Trump is. They do see him as that and they don't mind that because they come from places where you need that to fix a lot of the problems. So that's just a guess. But anyway, let me start off. Well, I'll start off with the polling market odds, which I always do, just to give you guys a sense. But I wanted to cap it off with just that little observation, that little anecdotal story, to kick things off. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, please like, please comment on the video in the live chat if you want. I'll read whatever comes through. But your subscription that's what I'm really after. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to be here every night. So up until election day, providing polling data, everything else. If you're on X, I get a really good following on X now. So it's almost like I used to be streaming on YouTube. And at some point I thought, you know what, I'll get to streaming on X. But now it's like, I would almost sometimes think that maybe X gets me more. So, but I like going on both. Sometimes I go on Facebook for the boomers too, but X and YouTube. So if you're on X listening right now, please follow me. Although if you go to follow me, you kind of have to come out of the video window. So don't do that either, I guess. But just follow me after the stream is done. I'm not going to be here for a long time tonight. I'm going to try and just go over everything that needs to be gone over. There's a lot of things going on today. As I mentioned, there's a lot of polling out. Let me tell you, if Kamala's team wasn't worried before, they should probably be worried now, because things are looking pretty. I don't even want to say it because I might jinx it, but as things stand right now, we have a completely different race than we had 3 weeks ago. And 3 weeks ago, we had a completely different race than we had 2 weeks before. We went from Trump being up by like 6-7 points to Kamala being up by 6-7 points. And now we're back to basically a tie, a toss up. And you know what I always say when it's a toss-up? Trump wins the toss-up. And I think people are getting wise to that. They know now that, like, if Kamala wants to win, she has to win by like 3 or 4 points. Now, Biden won by 4. Hillary won the popular vote by 2 points, but lost the Electoral College. So my thinking is there is a third-party candidate, obviously. Depending on the state, there might be two or three third-party candidates. But point is, the third party is not going to eat up as much as 2016, I don't think. But they're going to take up a significant amount. Significant enough amount. If that's 1%, that's significant. So that means that in my mind, the magic number, popular vote-wise, for Trump is 48%. I think if he gets to 48%, he wins. 47, maybe not, because he got 47 in 2020, but Biden had 51, 52. Question is Kamala going to get to 52 with the third-party influences? So we don't know that right now. But I'm thinking as it stands right now, she's 48, 49. So in other words, if this election turns out to be 49 Kamala and 30 Trump, well then, or sorry, not 30 Trump, 49 Kamala and 48, sorry, I saw 30 on my screen, 49 Kamala, 48 Trump, I think Trump wins that election. So I think his magic number is 48, honestly. It's not guaranteed to get him there, but it helps. Okay, let's take a look at what's going on. Enough for me. Enough blabbering on. Okay. Actually, I want to make this bigger so you can see it. So here's the Poly market odds as they stand right now, 53.46. As you can see, that's a big change since last week. I mean, last week, what was it, like almost tied? I think we were looking at it, and it was like Trump 50, Kamala 49. I need to get one of those boom filter or those pop filters or something for this mic because I know it's kind of annoying. If I can be back here, maybe it won't be so bad. 53.46 for Trump. He's really kind of opened up a pretty big lead. Once again, this is the election forecast from Polymarket. This is the betting odds. This is not the polls. I saw the other night, and I don't watch Fox News, but I saw, like, I'm getting people sending me clips and you know, screenshots and things like that. Fox on Laura Ingraham's show the other night, they put up a poll, and this is just not something they should be doing, okay? They put up Nate Silver's chances. So as you know, Nate Silver does polling, but he also does like chances of winning, right? So he does chances of winning. Right now, by the way, and we're going to get to it, he has Trump at a 60% chance of winning the presidency right now. 60%. To remind you, 2016, I don't think he got above 30% the whole time. That might be something we should check, but 60%. Anyways, Nate Silver also does chances of winning each individual state. Might as well just show it to you right now. Let's see here, share this tab instead. Okay, can you see that? Okay, good. Okay, so see this? These are the actual polls, okay? But what they were doing on Fox is they were bringing up Nate Silver's chances of winning each state. So it was like you'd see Georgia and it'd be like Trump 60 and Kamala 40. And then Michigan, Trump 55, Kamala 40, whatever. But they didn't clarify when they put it up on screen that this is chances of winning, not the actual poll. So I guarantee you there were many people who looked at that and they thought, wow, Trump is leading by 20 points in Georgia. Well, no, he's not leading by 20 points in Georgia. And then people say to me, no, Tyler, like people are much smarter than that. Like people understand. It's like, I don't know. And it's not even a matter of them being smart. It's a matter of you just glance at the screen. It's not even the viewer's fault, really. You just glance at the screen and you see those numbers and you think, wait a second, like, wow, like he's doing really well here. He's going to win this thing. but they mislead. They mislead. And, we talk a lot about like MSNBC misleading people or whatever. And it's like Fox is doing that too. And both sides are doing it. And I want to be here to give it to you straight. I want to tell you the truth. I swear to you, no matter what my opinions may be, no matter who I want to win this election, and there's plenty time for me to discuss who I want to win and who I think is, the better candidate, and I do that a lot, right? But what I'm trying to focus on right now, and what I'm trying to focus on with this stream and with this channel right now, is to tell you who is winning and who is losing, not who I want to win and who I want to lose. I came on here 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and I told you because it was what I really believed. I believed that Kamala was winning. And if things change, I will tell you that again. It just so happens right now, I think Trump is winning. Right now, I think Trump, if the election were held tonight or tomorrow, Donald Trump would be president again. That's what I think. Based on data, based on what I look at, based at models. Do I do my own polling? No, I don't do my own polling, but I look at everyone's polling. Yes, I look at Nate Silver's polling. Yes, I look at Rasmussen. Yes, I look at Trafalgar. I look at CNN. I look at Fox News. I look at all of them. And I was interviewing David Chapman the other night. I'm talking to people. I'm looking at polls. I'm trying to get the best view of what's really going on. And it seems like there's so many other people out there who they're just telling you what they think you want to hear or what they think you'd like. So, and trust me, this happens on Fox more often than you would believe. I don't watch Fox News, but I'm aware of it. It's really, really bad how they do it. And they'll constantly put up the chart of Trump's winning on the economy and Trump's winning on this. And don't get me wrong, those are important things to look at. But at some point, you have to be honest with your audience. And on the left, in 2016, as you know, it was way worse. In 2016, they were measuring the drapes in the White House for Hillary Clinton. And honestly, the data sort of pointed that way. It didn't point toward Trump having no chance, like New York Times said. What did he say? He had 1% chance of winning. It was never like that. Anyway, point is, I'm going to tell you the truth and nothing but the truth. And I did my electoral college prediction. You can go watch that video. Posted it a couple days ago. Did very well. Hopefully we can give it a second wind with you all checking out. But watch it later. Don't leave the live stream. And I have people in the I don't care about all this. I actually like it because the more people comment, the better for me. But there's people in the comments just, you can tell they are focusing on what they want to happen, not what they see is actually happening. So, and they'll say, of course, you're in Florida, you want Trump to win. It's like, well, look, if Trump is losing, I'm going to tell you he's losing. And I did that. So, and if it turns around again, I will tell you that. But right now, it's tight. It's close. And there are states where when it comes to trying to decide what the Electoral College is going to say, let's just go back to, do I have my Electoral College thing up right now? No, I don't. But honestly, it looks pretty much like this. Pennsylvania and Pennsylvania red, Nevada blue. But these are the polling market. Oh, you're not seeing this. Hold on. Give me 1 second. These are the polling market odds right now. There are states where the polling is 50-50. So, and I warn people, when the polling is 50-50, I have to tell you what I think is going to happen. At that point, I can't even look at the data anymore because the data is 50-50. So I have to tell you, well, it's 50-50, but Pennsylvania, working class, white working class, and I have to justify it in some way. And so some of these states are on a razor's edge. So if there's anyone out there right now saying he's definitely going to win Pennsylvania, or he's definitely going to lose Pennsylvania, or she's definitely going to win Arizona, I don't know. I mean, that's just a gut feeling. I'm not going to come on here and just give you my gut feeling. I'm going to incorporate that into it a little bit, but I have to tell you what I think is really going on. And people tend to criticize the betting markets, like they brush off the betting market. Oh, that's just, what are people just betting money for fun? It's like, well, I think people betting money are definitely looking at the polls. They're definitely making, some people aren't making an educated guess, of course, but a lot of people are putting money down and big amounts down, depending on who the polling says. Now, what's also true is there are people who see that the higher a chance Trump has, then they'll go for Kamala. And that's why the betting markets tend to be very, very close, because there are people who it's sort of like shorting a stock. So anyway, I just wanted to make that clear, is that, for those on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. I will be here the whole way. But I promise you, I am always going to tell you how I see it, not how I want it to be. Because every election, you have people out there just continually telling you, like, does anybody remember 2012? I will never forget this. And it scarred me so much that that's why I don't do it. And that's why I don't believe it. And that's why I'm very, very cautious what I believe and who I believe. But does anybody remember Dick Morris? Does anybody remember Dick Morris coming on Fox News in 2012 and saying it is going to be a landslide for Mitt Romney? They are overpolling Democrats. They think that the 2012 electorate is going to look the same as the 2008 electorate, and they have it all wrong, because it's going to be a totally different electorate. And guess what? The electorate was sort of the same. It was sort of the same. So, and then of course, Romney lost, and all these people who told us, like, he's definitely, it's going to be, they didn't just tell us that Romney was going to win. They said that Romney was going to win in a landslide. So, point is, there are people out there who are grifting. There are people out there who are telling you what they want to happen, not what they actually are seeing and what the data is showing them. Someone says, is this pre-recorded? No. And obviously you know that because I'm reading your comment now. Okay, I'll read some of the comments coming in. Check it out. It says, Trump will lose. He complains and whines too much. Robert Little, nope, he's winning PA, no doubt. Well, I'll talk about PA in a second. Pennsylvania, the Harris campaign is very worried about Pennsylvania. And they are worried about Pennsylvania for one specific reason, and that is white men. And I'm not just saying that because I am a white man. I need to fix my hair. I am saying that because that's what's happening. They are worried about white men in Pennsylvania. And I'm not surprised, because Pennsylvania, I'm going to read the rest of the comments in a second. Give me a sec. I'm not surprised because Pennsylvania is a state that voted for Biden narrowly. But there are a lot of people in Pennsylvania, including some people who vote Republican in Pennsylvania and probably voted Republican in 2016, who voted for Biden. They voted for Biden because they were comfortable with Joe Biden, because Biden is like a moderate Democrat. That's how they see him. But the question is, will those people vote for Kamala Harris? That is the question. So we'll see. I'm going to be talking a lot about Pennsylvania. I'm either going to do a stream or post a video that's all going to be about Pennsylvania. The state, the counties, what's going on, how it shifted from 2020, which, by the way, I do want to do later on in the stream. I want to take a look at the 2020 election versus now. I want to look at, 2020 election compared to 2016 and what happened there. And where Trump, if he wants to, where he needs to correct it and what groups he needs to win over. I mean, he's I'll give you a little hint. He's so focused on the Hispanic vote, the African American vote, but that's not what's going to get him there. Harris's business plan, better $50K for small business startups. Robert Little says she won't win. After Harris's business plan, Goldman Sachs, #1 business advisory / investment advisors predict Harris will be better for the U.S. economy. I did see that, yes. I don't know if getting Goldman Sachs' endorsement is necessarily something you want, though. Just saying, especially, I don't know how the Goldman Sachs endorsement plays in rural Pennsylvania. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, I saw that, and it's I didn't actually read. I just saw that today. I didn't have time to read it, so I don't know what the reasoning behind that was. But I think if I had to guess, it probably has something to do with Trump being for tariffs, and Goldman Sachs is against that, globalists. You can't bet in the U.S. election if you're a citizen, correct? Who cares about the betting, bro? I don't make election calls or decisions about which state I think. Or let me start again. I don't make predictions about the Electoral College based on the betting markets, because the betting markets aren't polls. But what I said earlier is that the betting markets, they shouldn't be completely discounted, because the betting markets are people putting real money down and making real bets. The reason I don't like following the betting markets and putting too much stake in them, maybe I should just take the betting market down from the screen. The reason why I don't put too much stake in them is that, as I said, it's like shorting a stock. There are people who see the underdog and they bet on the underdog because it's a bigger payout. So that boosts whoever's down up to maybe where they shouldn't be. And that's why it's always so close. Her own internal pollsters say Trump likely wins Pennsylvania. Yeah, I've heard that too. Mark Halperin said he was talking to multiple sources, and he said those sources don't believe she can win Pennsylvania. They're not completely ruling it out, but they say as it stands now, Pennsylvania is a big problem for her. And it makes sense to me. I honestly think that if I'm Kamala, I'm thinking maybe you got a better chance going for Georgia, Nevada, and Arizona, and then just leaving the Rust Belt. And maybe you win 2 or 3, maybe you luck out and you win 3 or 3. But if she wins Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, she doesn't need Pennsylvania. And I think she plays better in the Sun Belt than she does up in the Rust Belt. And that's where Biden's strength was, by the way. Harris announced reduced capital gains tax. I did see that. Now, what was the number again? It was because it was lower than Biden's, correct? Biden's was 30, I want to say 33, and hers was 28. Is that right? Somebody tell me in the chat. Point is that she's triangulating hard. I mean, she's turning the car around quick. She's going to be for deportation in a couple days. Dems think that Florida doesn't play. LOL. Yeah, no, it's not. Look, I shouldn't dismiss it like that. Is Florida going to be like a 10-point win for Trump? No, but if I'm predicting, it's going to be like a 4 or 5-point win. The reason I say that, again, I could do a whole show on Florida too, but I don't see Trump's numbers dropping in Central Florida and North Florida, and I see his numbers increasing in South Florida. And again, I have like anecdotal testimony about that down here, because you would not believe the the Hispanic support for him. In my neighborhood, I've seen 3 for some reason, people now are flying flags. They don't put signs. They're flying flags. Like they're even more proud of their candidate now. I've seen 3 Trump. I haven't seen any signs, so I think maybe they haven't been sent out or something. I've seen 3. This is just in my little like radius. I've seen 3 Trump flags and 2 Kamala flags. So I usually read all these chats at the end, but I'm whatever. Someone said, "Is it going live right now? Or is this pre-recorded?" So I had to step in and say, "No, it's live." Let's see. North Carolina might go to Harris, the GOP candidate bringing Trump down. Yeah, the GOP candidate is struggling there. What is his name again? Robinson or something like that. Honestly, though, I don't think it's the Senate candidate who's bringing him down. I think it's the Research Triangle. By the way, if you guys have not subscribed to my channel, please do so, and I will be here. I'm going to try for every night, but if you haven't already, subscribe. I think you can subscribe by clicking. Go down to the bottom right where there is a very old picture of me, and it says hover over that with your cursor and it says subscribe, Florida Millennial. Okay, and if you do that, comments tonight, every single one. North Carolina might go to Harris, a GOP candidate. Okay, I already read that. Nope, North Carolina is definitely Trump. Maybe not Georgia, though. Oh, yeah. Okay, so I wanted to get into why North Carolina. Why North Carolina might go to. Honestly, I have North Carolina going for Trump, and I think it's a bit of an overreaction thinking it's going to go to Harris. But there are some things to keep in mind. North Carolina, obviously, every election just gets bluer and bluer, but it's a much different state now than it was even in 2020. Because think, after COVID, a lot of people have moved to North Carolina. I've heard people from North Carolina talking about this, particularly on that aforementioned Mark Halperin podcast. There was someone from North Carolina saying, like, look, there's a lot of like Northeasterners coming down here, and they're moving to Charlotte. They're moving to what is it? It's Charlotte, Raleigh. What's the 3? Like there's the universities in Chapel Hill, right? So that whole area is getting really blue, and it's just a matter of time before that whole area tips the state. It's sort of like Georgia, like whoops. It's sort of how in Georgia for many years it's been getting bluer and bluer, and we all knew eventually Atlanta would tip it. And that's what's happening in Texas. Austin, Dallas, eventually it's going to tip it. Tip it blue, that is. Arizona, there's different factors. But that's what's happened to Georgia, and that's what's happening to North Carolina. But I still think North Carolina, I have it for Trump right now. Again, if there's new data that comes in, I will absolutely change my mind about it. But I know people in Florida not happy about the skyrocket insurance, also the high home. Yes, that is a huge problem in Florida. The insurance is ridiculously high. It is skyrocketed, as you say. All true. But Florida is just like, let me tell you, Florida, before I was here permanently, I came in 2016. I came down here, and before it was a trip, and as a matter of fact, it was around this time. Before I made the trip down, I was Durham. Thank you, Robert Little. Thank you, Durham. I was very skeptical about Trump's chances in general, not just in Florida, but I was very skeptical of his chances of winning the presidency. However, when I came down to Florida, I was pretty surprised by the amount of Trump flags and Trump bumper stickers and Trump signs. And on that trip, I traveled from Jacksonville all the way down to Orlando and all the way back up. And man, it was like you could not turn your head without seeing something Trump. People wearing Trump hats. I was amazed. And I came away from that trip thinking, man, I don't know about the election, But Trump's winning Florida. Like, if this is any sign, and this is not like I'm in the Panhandle where you expect there to be a lot of Republican support. I was in Orlando. Obviously, Jacksonville's probably redder, a more red area of the state. I was in Orlando, though, that area right up there through the, what is it, the I can't remember what it is, I-10, or I should know that now that I live here. But anyway, that whole strip there from, and actually that trip, no, I went Jacksonville, through Orlando and all the way down to St. Petersburg. So St. Petersburg and then all the way back up. And it's funny because at the time, if you remember this, I know I'm kind of probably boring people now, but at the time, Trump was he banned or denounced or something by the mayor of I-10 corridor, by the mayor of St. Petersburg? I can't remember how it went, but even there was a lot of support for him. So it was like, it was a shock. It's like, wow, this is like, the media is not telling you the truth. So point is, I learned then that Florida is a very Trumpy state. So, you have, and people have a misconception too about why that is. But part of it is true. You have a lot of seniors down here, because Florida seniors tend to vote Republican. So you have that. And then you have like the Panhandle of Florida, which is like basically Alabama. So that's red. You have the whole Jacksonville area, which is reddish. And then you go down to like Tampa, which is about 50-50 or maybe a little bit more blue. Orlando, a little bit more blue, but it's blue, but it's not like Philly where like the Republicans get completely wiped out and it's like they only get 20% of the vote. No, Trump in Orlando area will get like 35, 40, 45. Tampa, like in the 40s, mid 40s. And then you go down and this is where the Democrats used to win Florida and Miami-Dade, right? But that's changing now because the Hispanics are now voting for Trump and they love Trump. So that's why Florida is the way it is. Yeah, I-10 court, Panhandle, big Trump. Yeah, Panhandle's always been big Republican, but now it's the Panhandle's even more red. And then you go down to Miami-Dade, and Miami-Dade is now like 50-50 instead of Republicans getting blown out 60-40 or whatever it used to be, 70-30. So that's what's happening there. All right, I think I'm caught up on other comments. Once again, guys, if you can, please subscribe to the channel. I'm at 633, and I was at 633 before I came in. So unless you guys were already subscribed, no, I'm kidding. That's fine. And those on next, please follow. Okay, keep commenting, and I'll read the comments as they flow in. But I'm caught up for now. If you have any questions, by the way, post them in chat, and I will do my best to answer. Okay, what was I going to talk about here? Let's see. Okay, let's go to Nate Silver and let's see what he's saying. Dems are in full panic about this. There was an email sent out to all the Democrats, to the Harris team sent out an email, and they said, Nate Silver has us losing, so we are now the underdogs. They're trying to play up this whole underdog thing, like, ooh, we're the underdogs now, as though that's like I don't know if that's supposed to be like some kind of advantage they have that they're underdogs. I have no idea. But okay, let's make this bigger. Okay, so this is where we're at now. Wait a second. How come this isn't working? There we go. Okay. All right, so this is where Nate Silver has it. Now, this is what I have been talking about this every week. I always look at the change from last week, this column here. Change from last week. And that tells you where the momentum is going. If you remember, 2 weeks ago, these numbers were all blue. They were like Dem +4, Dem +3, and that's from when Biden dropped out. So change from last week, we've got Pennsylvania up a point for GOP, Michigan up a point for Trump, Georgia down +0.2 for Harris, North Carolina up 0.7 for Trump. Wisconsin, I think Wisconsin's probably one of the harder ones for Trump. Democrat +0.3. Excuse me. Again, this is not +0.3 is or leading point by 0.3. This is the change from last week. Now, this is the big one. Arizona +2 for Trump. They now have Trump leading. Arizona 48.9 to 47. So that's basically 49-47. That's basically a 2-point lead. And remember what I always say. If you see a poll for Trump, add 2 points on, because he always is under polled. He always overperforms. And sometimes it's by more than 2 points. And I'm not going to stop talking about it. The Wisconsin poll from 2020 that had him down 14 points, and he lost the state by 1. Florida, 49-44. So look, we've got how many? 3, 6, 9. Damn, she fine. 9 swing states here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them in the last week have moved the Republicans' way into Trump's way. Now, again, some of them are like what, Florida 0.1, 0.6, but every bit matters, right? So look, we've got a really tight race now. We have a very, very tight race. Let's go to the national numbers. I don't like looking at national numbers. I never have, because the election is not, that's not what the election is. So I've never liked looking at it, but it can tell you trend lines. It can tell you what's going on. Okay, let's take a look. This is Emerson College. Harris 51, Trump 48. Again, not a bad number for Trump at all. 48%. He can win with that. The popular vote could finish 51-48 for Harris, and Trump could win. So that's not a bad number for him. Tip Insights. I remember Tip being pretty accurate in 2016. 48-44, not a great number for Trump. Yeah, not a good poll for Trump. Rasmussen, by the way, that was registered voters, not likely voters. So we'll take that into account too. Rasmussen, likely voters, Trump 47, Harris 46. Good poll for Trump. Rasmussen, yeah, they tend to be more leaning towards Trump, but still a good poll for him. Suffolk, likely voters 48-43, bad poll for Trump. So it's a mix. It's a mix. There's a couple of good ones in there. But yeah, let's look through Georgia. Again, see, it's all crapshoot. It's like, what do you even make of all this stuff? You know, it's just like, how are you supposed to make a prediction when it's this close? I don't even know. Like, and there's the trend. The trend is definitely in Trump's favor last week, and this is the big one, Pennsylvania. So, and this is, if you take a look at this too, look at all these polls, and look how they compare the national ones. Okay, there's a few national ones where she's leading 4 points, 3.5, 3.7. Go to Pennsylvania. There's not a single one where she's leading by more than 1 point. And again, always add on 2 for Trump, because I always think they underpoll him. I don't know. Am I wrong? Do they not underpoll him? 16 and 20. So I'm gonna go to David. No. What is his name again? Is it Pfeiffer? Dan Pfeiffer. Okay. I almost said David Plouffe. I get them mixed up. Dan Pfeiffer. I'm going to go to his article in a second, but I will read more of your comments. Thanks for your subscription. Check it out. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will not let you down. I promise. I know Florida well. Live in Vermont. LOL. Yup, it's called a trend. Yes. Okay. Putin endorses Harris during interview. He said she laughed. So I saw that so expressively and infectiously that it means that she is doing well. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I saw that. It's funny. No, I watched that clip of Putin, and he had a shit-eating grin on his face when he said it. I think he was trolling there. Sure. I think he was. I think that was a lot of sarcasm there. I think when it comes to who does Putin want, it's tough to say that, because Trump was pretty tough on Putin. Mind you, I think Putin feels like if Kamala is president, he can continue what he's doing. Because he knows that it's going to be the same as it is with Biden. Biden can keep shipping them ammunitions and tanks and weaponry, but I think as it is right now, it's probably tougher for Putin to win this war than he thought it would be. But I don't think he's like backing off or anything. So, and Trump has said he wants to bring it to an end. He wants to bring them to the negotiating table. I'm not really sure Putin necessarily wants to do that. So I think Putin likes Trump personally better. I think Putin thinks that if Trump is president, he can probably get a better deal since he's already invaded and the war has already been going on for 2 years. But I also think at the same time that the reason he didn't invade before was because Trump was president and he knew Trump would maybe do something. So he likes Trump and has more respect for Trump than he has for her, for sure. So I think when he's talking about he wants Harris to win, I think that's a troll. I do. Robert Little means she's cooked. You pick and choose what you like. I don't know what you mean by that. Rich Barris has it even. Yeah, I pay attention to Rich Barris. Check it out. It says Harris has a better ground game. Well, let's refer back to 2016 again. I heard over and over and over again in 2016 about how Trump has no ground game in Florida. There are no offices open in Florida. He has no get out the vote in Florida. He has no voter outreach. He has no grassroots attention. And then he won it by 2 points or whatever it was. So ground game, important, yes, but maybe not as important as it used to be. Get out the vote, still important. But it may be true that Harris is a better ground game. I don't know. I don't know what the metric of that is, other than they have more offices open. The Democrats have always been very, very good at turning out the vote. I mean, they turn out the unions to vote. They turn out the graveyard. I mean, no, I'm kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. Don't unsubscribe. Check it out. Please don't unsubscribe. That was a joke. No, the Democrats do very well at get out the vote. The last time Republicans had good get out the vote operations was in 2004 with George W. Trafalgar has Trump up too in Pennsylvania. Yeah. Trafalgar, though, tends to be a little more leaning toward Trump. So I remember in 2020, Trafalgar had Trump leading by 1 in some of those states. He ended up losing by 1. So again, I used to explain that you can be wrong about the outcome, but closer in the poll. Like there were pollsters who had, as I said, they had Biden. Now there was one with him leading by 14 in Wisconsin, but they had Biden up by 5, 6, 7 points in the state, and Biden only won it by 1 point. And then you had Trafalgar, who had Trump winning it by 1 point. Okay, so Trafalgar missed it by 2 points and had the prediction wrong. But like ABC or whoever, I'm not saying it was ABC, but there can be some other pollster who had the outcome right, but they were way off. So it's tough. And I wonder sometimes when you see the polls and their rankings, they'll be like A+, B+. I saw today one it was a D. I wonder how do they measure that? I don't know exactly how they measure that. But if Putin said that for Trump, Fox News would be replaying the clip 24/7. Yeah, they would, because Fox is Fox. I don't know if you were here earlier, but I was slamming Fox for misleading their audience, which they always do. No, CNN would. Guys, don't fight in the comment section, please. They always say Russia won it for him in 2016. It's not 2016. People are sick of his nonsense. The crowds are smaller for Trump. I don't know if the crowds are smaller for Trump. But again, crowd size doesn't matter. 2012, Romney had huge crowds. Obama had like very, very, um, I don't want to say small crowds, but Obama's crowds in 2012 were nothing compared to what they were in 2008, and then that didn't really matter. So I never put any stock in crowds. The only time I pay attention to crowds is if there's like clearly a movement going on. I don't pay attention to crowds if it's like, oh, this candidate has bigger crowds than that candidate. But if one candidate has massive crowds, like how Trump started to have and how Bernie started to have, yep, and the other candidates are like boring and not drawing much, and they have to invite like Hollywood celebrities in order for people to come, then clearly something is going on, right? Harris bust people in from Massachusetts, New Hampshire. I saw that. Again, honestly, that's just good politics. Sorry, that's just what am I supposed to am I supposed to say that's a bad thing that Harris is doing, busing people in? Yeah, it's just sorry guys. I got to get the pop filter on here. But yeah, no, it's smart. It's smart of them to do that because it makes it look like there's more people who support her than maybe they do. But then again, she's leading in a lot of these national polls. So Fox never polls Trump well at all. That's true. A lot of the Fox polls have not been good for Trump. Economy lost 2.7 million jobs during Trump fact checking. Yeah, but that was because of COVID, though. So always registered voters. Yeah, I always try to look at or pay more attention to the wait, what did you say? Always registered voters. I always pay attention to likely voters because all the registered voters aren't going to come out. Okay, I'm caught up on the comments. Keep talking, keep asking questions, and I'll come back to it later on. But I want to get to this Substack article written by Dan Pfeiffer. Let's see. All right, I'll make it bigger for you here so you can see it. Sec. How come this doesn't work now? I don't know why. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. The article is by Dan Pfeiffer, who we know is a Democrat insider. I believe Pfeiffer worked on the Obama 8 and 12 campaigns. Pfeiffer has that podcast with Favreau and whoever else. So now, by the way, I'm not subscribed, so we're not going to be able to read the whole thing. But I think this is finally someone is talking about this because I have been talking about the young male vote and how a lot of people are missing the story for a while, and no one seems to be talking about it. It's being brought up by Mark Halperin a couple times. This is the first time I've seen a Democrat insider or like I don't want to say an establishment person, but a mainstream person in party politics or media bring this up. Okay, it's called How and Why Trump is Targeting Gen Z Men. Trump is trying to make inroads with young men to cut into Kamala Harris's something. I don't know. That sounds like there needed to be something else at the end there. Okay, earlier this week, I wrote about how Kamala Harris energized young women and built a historically large gender gap. Trump is freaking out about the change in the race and erratically trying to appeal to women with a ridiculous proposal on government-funded IVF and a brief flirtation with voting against Florida's 6-week ban. There is, of course, another side to the story. The gender gap, this significant, means that Harris has strong support with women, but it also means that Trump has strong support from men. Democrats typically do better with women, and Republicans do better with men. Since there are more women than men, and they turn out at higher rates, this benefits Democrats. It's why they have won the popular vote in all but one presidential election since 1988. The gender gap in this race is not surprising. Kamala Harris is popular, broadly appealing, and inspiring. I don't really know about that. Is she inspiring? She is running against a misogynist found by a jury to have committed rape in the first presidential election after overturning Roe v. Wade. Is that true? I thought they didn't charge him on the rape. I thought they charged him on something else. Notably, however, the gender gap is the largest among Gen Z voters. Young voter divide. Young voters are generally considered a pro-democratic monolith. If young voters turn out, Democrats win. For a long time, that was the case. In 2008, Obama won voters under 30 by 34 points. That is pretty astounding. Young women were slightly more pro-Obama than young men, but Obama still won young men by 27 points. In subsequent elections, young men have been more Republican, but Democrats still won them. No more. And then it's making me subscribe, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, so I have been talking about this for a while, both due to my personal experience talking to people about the election, talking to people about Trump, talking to people about whatever else. And I have found that a lot of people are just not paying attention to this stuff. They are not paying, oops, I don't know what happened to my mic there. They are not paying attention to what's going on with young men and the young male vote. We hear so much about, we hear about Hispanics, we hear about African Americans, we hear about women, we hear about this, we hear about that, we hear about every single demographic. And white working class we hear about, and I believe white working class is a demographic that we should be hearing about because it's a very important demographic, especially for Trump, and I will continue to say that. But there is a huge change, I believe, and a huge shift in how young men are voting. Young men are voting for Trump. I shouldn't say voting. They're supporting Trump in really large numbers. Now, what are the indicators other than me talking to people? Well, let me first of all tell you about me talking to people. I am not kidding about this. And again, I'm in a reddish state, but I have not met yet a male under 30, under age 30, who is not supporting Trump or who does not like Trump. And that is a development, and that is I don't want to use the word shock because honestly, I'm not that shocked. But it's not really talked about. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a second. I mean, this isn't going to shift the whole election, don't get me wrong, but when you have states that are hanging on by a razor's edge, 20,000, 30,000 votes, and you see Trump going on Theo Vaughn, you see Trump going on with, was it Logan Paul or Jake Paul? You see Trump going on Lex Friedman. You see Trump going on with Bryson DeChambeau. And you start and you see that each of them has millions and millions of views. He went on with Aiden Ross as well. He shows up at the UFC fights and he gets huge, roaring, standing ovations in New York, in Miami, in Vegas. And you start to think, is there something going on here that wasn't going on in 16 or even 20 to the extent that is? And Pfeiffer talks about the gender gap. I think we're going to see a huge gender gap this election. And look, if Trump pulls this off, I'm telling you, there's going to be a lot of talk the next morning. Remember the talk in 2016 was white working class after the election. No one paid attention to white working class. Or at least Hillary didn't pay attention to white working class. I think if Trump pulls this off, there's going to be a lot of talk about young men. They're going to say it's young white men, but it's more than that. It's young men. Now, this gets back to ground game, like Check It Out said. Democrats have a great ground game. The question is, can they turn out the votes? Are young people going to actually vote for Trump? They like him. They cheer him at the UFC. They watch him on YouTube with Theo Vaughn. They laugh and they comment. But will they vote? That is the question. But it's a start that they're beginning to notice that something's going on here. And Pfeiffer, with his article, has shown that he understands what's going on. Now, I haven't read the whole thing, Maybe I should subscribe. I don't know how much it is to subscribe, but anyway, I thought that was I think it's interesting. I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about this, and that's the reason he's going on all these podcasts. And they're saying, well, why isn't Kamala doing that? Well, because Kamala knows she can't. She's not going to go on that. I mean, these were voters who were ripe for Trump. They were ripe for the picking, and he went after them. Okay. Trump, and I can't read that one. I don't want to get banned. Nick Fuentes is not happy about Trump. What are your thoughts? I have lots of thoughts about that. Nick Fuentes has been an lifetime, not lifetime. Nick Fuentes, the question is, Nick Fuentes not happy about Trump. What are your thoughts? Nick Fuentes has always been a Trump fan, and he has always been a believer in the original Trump message. The original Trump message in 16 and 15 was based on 3 major policy platforms. 1, renegotiate the trade deals. 2, no more foreign wars. And 3, building a wall and dealing with immigration. And at times, he was not just talking about illegal immigration, he was talking about legal immigration too. So the question is, why is Nick upset? He has good reason to be upset. Because the Trump, which in 2016, when he first ran, challenged the GOP. It challenged the establishment. And in 2016, Trump took over the GOP. And that's why there were so many people who in the party, remember, Paul Ryan wanted to throw Trump out. They wanted to take Trump after the Billy Bush weekend. They wanted to take Trump off the ballot. They wanted to replace him. The party, the GOP, was adamantly opposed. You can go and listen. Steve Bannon talks about it. After Billy Bush, they were in a room, and Bannon said to the group, "You're on the plane or you're off. Plane leaves at this time. Either you're on it or get lost. We're not dropping out." And guess what? Chris Christie was in that room, and Chris Christie didn't make the plane. But somehow Chris Christie was on the transition team until Jared Kushner got rid of him. But anyway, Trump conquered the GOP in 2016. He made the GOP, he turned the GOP around from a party of tax cuts, deregulation, small government, and really another version of globalism as compared to the Democrats. Today, what is Trump campaigning on? Is he really campaigning on trade, no foreign wars, and immigration? Well, yes, he does bring those things up. But no, he's campaigning on no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, low taxes, drilling for oil. This sounds a lot like the GOP, traditional GOP agenda. If Jeb Bush were running for president, this is what he would be running on. But Trump was supposed to be the antithesis of Jeb Bush. Trump was supposed to be the answer to Jeb Bush and John McCain and Paul Ryan, and name almost every single one of them who were against Trump then, but for Trump now. So ask yourself this question: why is it that so many Republican establishment people were against Trump then and for Trump now? Well, the answer is that while Trump conquered the GOP in 2016, in many ways, the GOP has conquered him now. And that is why Nick Fuentes is upset. And they can go out and they can call him a fed and they can call him everything. No. That's not what's going on here. Not what's going on. Trump ran in 2016 a fervent. Go back and look at Trump's speech in 2016, Trump's convention speech. It was fierce. It was nationalistic. It was, and I'm not making any comment about whether or not that's good or bad. I mean, that's a discussion for another time. It was nationalistic. It was about borders. It was about crime. It was a complete indictment of the entire establishment, Republican and Democrat. That speech, that 2016 convention speech, was a revolutionary speech. And you really don't hear Trump talking like that anymore. Is he completely GOP? Like he used to be over here, populist nationalist against GOP, and over here is like GOP establishment Republicans. He's like here, right? He's not totally establishment because he still really ticks off the establishment. And look no further than Liz Cheney going for Harris, and like John McCain's son going for Harris, and all these old GOP guard people going for Harris and denouncing Trump. So no, they're still ticked off with him, and they still think, and you still hear talk of all this. And by the way, if Trump were not to pull this off, you think they're going to keep that agenda? No, it's going to go back to being the Mitt Romney agenda. So that is my long way of answering the question about Nick Fuentes. So yeah, he has good reason to be upset. Now, personally, my hope is, and Fuentes' big gripe is with not Trump, but so much Trump, but the campaign managers, Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles, who have driven Trump to this message that is not really anything like his original message was. So my hope is that Trump can get back to his original message and Nick can be voting for him enthusiastically again. Everyone wants me to come on here and say, oh, Nick Fuentes, I'm not going to, no. Like, Nick has legitimate reasons for what he's doing and why he's doing it. Do I think he's like taking it too far? I don't know, man. Like I'm all I'll say is like I understand where he's coming from, and I gave you a little bit of a diatribe there about why it's completely justified, and his reasoning makes total sense. But in order to understand his reasoning, you first have to understand that the original Trump message, which was like conceived by Trump and then really brought into full birth and full maturity by Bannon and people like that. They took Trump had these like kind of vague ideas about trade and about wars and opinions that an average person would have, quite frankly, even though he was a billionaire. And Bannon kind of took it and made it into an agenda, because it wasn't really an agenda. It was just all these random thoughts about things. And Trump couldn't really channel them. But when Bannon came in, he channeled them into an agenda. And that agenda is, quite frankly, being challenged again from within the GOP. And of course, Trump thinks he has to moderate because he thinks that's how he's going to win. But I don't know. It remains to be seen whether that's going to work or not. I don't know. But to answer your question, I understand why Nick Fuentes is not happy with the current Trump campaign, because it's much different than what it was in 2016. Tim Walz's entire family can't stand him voting for Trump. I saw that. Honestly, this is why, like, I don't know if I can look, I am going to gain a huge following on here. I know I'm going to. We're on the cusp of this channel really surging. but I'm gonna make it really hard for people because I'm always like saying things that go against my own side, and then I'll say things that like go against the other side, and then they get ticked off at me. I don't know if it's a good thing to be using Tim Walz' family against him because honestly, it reminds me of what they do. Well, they do it to Trump with his like crazy niece or whatever. But they also do it to RFK, and they say, "Oh, his family hates him. His family doesn't want to talk to him anymore." It's like, so what? Like, Walz has family who's voting Republican. Like, yeah, that's normal. It's normal to have a family where people are voting all different ways. Now, if the rest of the family is indicting him like personally and character wise, that's a different story. But I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable, like using people's families against them. Let's see. What else do we have here? Do, 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 do. RFK wants people to eat healthy and organic. How about RFK pay for Whole Foods bill? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. People say, "Well, you have to stop eating seed oils." It's like, okay, well, what do you want me to? Yeah, exactly. What, you want me to shop at Whole Foods? You want me to eat Pura Vida all day? People who aren't in Florida might not get that reference. I went to Pura Vida recently. It's like I don't even know what you would call it. It's like a boutique type eatery. And I got like a sandwich. I got like an egg sandwich and a drink, and it was like 20 something dollars. Outrageous. Uh it's all you live in Florida, that's like someone that lives in Nebraska will say, I think my neighbors will vote for Trump. Well, no, honestly, because Florida's not solid red. There's a good mix here. Like Harris is going to get north of 45% of the vote here. So it's not like Nebraska where it's like, you know, everything is just rural and white. Like it's not like that here. State of Florida AG seems more concerned about college football playoffs versus the insurance problems. Yeah, well, college football is huge here, so forget about Trump and Harris flags. There's more college football flags and signs here than political stuff. Uh, okay, I think that's it for the comments. So if I'll keep commenting or keep asking questions, whatever, I'll answer them. I hope you were satisfied with my Nick Fuentes response because I've been following that story pretty closely. So, of course, you don't hear about that story in mainstream. Fuentes is actually like, am I going to get banned just for like saying his name? He's going to Michigan to like literally to campaign against Trump, which is wild. Okay, what else was I going to hit here? Okay, we talked about the Pfeiffer thing. Oh, right, I wanted to look at this. 1 second here. I'll look at this, and then you can ask more questions, and I'll respond. If you're watching on X, I guess you could like reply to the live stream. Is there a live chat on X? Do they do that? No, there isn't. They don't really do. If you have questions on X, just reply to the live stream. Look underneath, reply to it. Or comments or whatever. Man, today I commented on I commented on a post from like Lawrence O'Donnell today, and my replies are just full of enraged people. All right. Robert Little, are you still with us? I haven't heard from you in a while. Okay. Let's talk about this. Okay. This is an old article about 2020. Here. Whoops. Okay. This is an old article about the 2020 election, but I wanted to go down and focus on this chart here. So these, I like how they set this up because it shows you the crosstabs 2016, 2018, and 2020. So we're not going to go sit here and go on and on about what happened with 2020 and the election. It's much better to look at the difference between 2016 and 2020 and what happened to Trump from 2016 and 2020 and how he could improve. This will be the more boring part of the stream, but I think it's very important. So let's take a look here. And the point of this is that all we hear about and all we see Trump trying to do is win over Hispanics, African Americans, women. But what actually lost him 2020? Let's look at women. 54 Hillary Clinton, 39 Trump, 2016. Now let's look at 2020. 55 Biden. So Biden did 1 point better than Hillary, even though she was a woman running for president. Trump, 44. Trump did 5 points better with women in 2020. And yet we hear about women as his problem, blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not saying he's going to get 44% this time around, but I would hazard to guess it's going to be 40 and 44%. Now we come down to Hispanics. 28% in 2016, 38%. Excuse me, in 2020. He did better with Hispanics in 2020. So where did he lose then? Well, let's go down to the white men crosstab, because that is where you're going to see the biggest difference. 32% for Clinton, 62% for Trump. Now that's in 2016. Trump won white men by 30 points. That's huge. 2020, 40% for Biden, 57% for Trump. Trump won it by 17 points. Biden cut it in half. He cut his lead in half. He took the Democrat ticket from 32% white men voting for him or for the Democrat ticket to 40%. That's an 8% increase. That is huge, election over election. So the point here is that's where he needs to be focused. That's where he needs to be trying to get voters. How do you get white male voters? Well, you talk about white working class issues. Do you go on Joe Rogan? I don't know. But a lot of these white voters, and I talk a lot about young people voting for Trump, a lot of these white voters are older white men. And that's really where Trump has been slipping. So honestly, I think he's better to start focusing on that. And what are they going to call me, a racist or something for telling him he should focus on white men? I don't know. There's a lot of white men who vote. It's kind of like the Republican base. So that's who I think he should be trying to target. That's who he should be trying to go after once again, because that's where, there's a phrase like hunt where the ducks are. Those are where the voters are. Those are your voters. You lost them to Biden. And then this begs the question, are there a lot of men, dare I propose this question? Are there a lot of men who will not vote for a woman candidate? We have to consider that this is at play. I am not saying that is my position. I am saying that that is something I think we should be wondering. Maybe that's part of what went on there. Why would white men shift so hard from Hillary to Biden? Well, some say COVID. Some say Trump was too chaotic. And while I started off the show saying that Trump is doing better with young men of all age, I mean, they'll probably write it up as young white men, but he's doing better with young men in general. There is another demographic that I believe he is doing worse with, and he is in jeopardy of doing worse with this time around, and that is older voters. And there's been a lot of polling done on this, and Ryan James Gerdusky tried to disprove it. And it's probably true that what they were saying was exaggerated. Like that poll showing him losing seniors by like, I don't know, what was it like? It was double digits, I'm pretty sure. That's not happening. But I will say this. I do believe that he may be in jeopardy of losing a lot of his support with that group. Now, why is that? I have theories. I have thoughts. I think probably it has something to do with his personality, one, but two, I have to say, I think that January 6th is playing a role there. There are a lot of older voters who, how should I put this? There are a lot of older voters who have a lot of reverence for American systems. It's too much just to say democracy. I don't like when people just talk about democracy. They have a reverence for American institutions. How's that? They have a respect and a reverence for American institutions. Congress, Supreme Court. That may bleed over into CIA, NSA, military, all of that. They have a reverence for the institutions. Now, the institutions have done some questionable things lately. The institutions are not trusted in any way like they were before. I mean, there was a time when American institutions were held in higher regard than they are now. So it's easy to see why there's a kind of a backlash against them, especially among younger voters. And why do you think they're voting for Trump? Well, they're voting for Trump for that reason, because Trump is seen as a renegade. Trump is seen as someone taking on the institutions, taking on the ruling class, taking on the government leviathan. And again, to get back to the question about Fuentes, he is not playing the same revolutionary challenger role this time around as he was back then. So will those people who want to I was going to use a phrase there that I shouldn't use, who want to challenge the establishment and want to challenge the system and don't have as much reverence for the institutions, are they going to come out to vote for him in the same numbers? I don't know. But what I do have a sense about is that the people who do have a reverence for the institutions are not going to vote for him in the same numbers. So that is a bit of an issue for him, because you look at his numbers, and again with older voters, and he tends to be losing some of them. That's according to polling data. And I wish I could. I didn't have it prepared because I didn't think I was actually going to talk about it. But I wish I could bring up the polling, because Ryan Girdusky did like a whole thing where he like rebuked that. So maybe I'll do that next live stream. All right. Any more questions? Check it out. Robert Little. Maybe have you guys long gone? Was there anything else I wanted? Let's see here. I had a bunch of things pulled up. Yeah, we talked about that. Silver Bulletin. Polymarket. Let's take a look at Nate Silver again. We'll blow it up big for you just so you can see it. All right. Thank you to everybody who was watching on YouTube. Once again, please subscribe, please like, please comment in the live chat. I will read your comments, all of them. Is the debate still happening? Yes. Unless there was some development in the past few hours that I don't know about. Yeah, the debate's still happening. They confirmed it last night. The microphones will be muted. Kamala wanted the microphones on. I believe she wanted the microphones on so she could have her "I'm talking, Mr. President" moment. Or honestly, I think the real reason why she wanted them on, or sorry, to be muted, sorry, to be on. The real reason Kamala wanted the microphones to be on was because she believes that if the microphones are on, Trump is going to be less disciplined. And if he's less disciplined and he's like firing off as he usually does, or as he did with Biden, not on the CNN debate, but going back to 2020, if Trump's like popping off and undisciplined, he makes him look bad. And he loses support for that. So I think that's why Kamala wanted the microphones to be on. We're hearing a lot about like, oh, she wants the microphones on because she wants her moment, which I just said, her like, "Excuse me, sir, I'm talking" moment. I tend not to think that's why she wants them on. I think she wants them on because she thinks Trump is stronger when they're off. I think that's why she wants them on. And they went back and forth about that. Trump also said that, and he said this at the he did a thing in Pennsylvania last night, a town hall, where he said that they wanted to be seated. They wanted them to be seated. He said Biden wanted the same thing. Biden wanted them to be sitting for the debate back in June. Biden is now sitting at home because of that debate. But and you think like why would he want to be seated? Why would she want to be seated? I know why Biden would want to be seated, because he probably just doesn't want to. Maybe he doesn't have the strength to stand for that long. I don't know, or the stamina. Why would she want to be seated? The only thing I can think of why she would want to be seated is because the only other time participated in a national debate, which was against Mike Pence, she was seated for that, if you remember. That was the famous fly debate. Remember the fly landed on Mike Pence's forehead? So, but yeah, to answer your question, debate, and again, unless something has happened, unless something took place, unless something transpired in the last 4 hours before I did this live stream, debate is a go for, I guess that will be Tuesday, right? Tuesday night. I have thought about live streaming the debate. I'm very undecided on that. Very undecided. I don't know what that means, but oh yeah, right. What do we want to do? We want to check out some more of the see Nate Silver. I didn't go through the Nate Silver polling, so let's check more of it. Just make sure you can see that though. Yeah, okay. Texas is another one that's getting tighter. It's only showing Republicans up by, what is an old poll, 5 points. Okay, so Pennsylvania, we got Trump up by 2.1. In Trafalgar, I think this is the one that one of you guys were mentioning earlier. All right, check it out. Thanks a lot for joining. Come back again. I will probably be doing a live stream almost every night, hopefully every night, but almost every night around this time or a little bit earlier. I'll try to do it like 9:30, 10 o'clock. But thank you for joining. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for your comments. I appreciated it. And I appreciate the questions. And come back again, man. Okay, yeah, let's check out this. So Trump up by 2 in the Trafalgar. Harris up by 1 in YouGov. YouGov is a very respected poll, I believe. Redfield and Wilton. Never heard of that poll, but Harris up by 1. So, I mean, man, it's real tight out there. North Carolina. Again, I talked about the problems in North Carolina for Trump. Mainly people moving there from Northeast since 2020. A lot of people moved to North Carolina. A lot of people moved to Florida. So it's kind of unpredictable. Like these states have really changed since last time people voted. So, but Trump's up on most polls here. But look at the margins. I mean, it's pretty close. Let's check out New Hampshire, because Kamala's, for whatever reason, was in New Hampshire. I mean, the best one for Trump is he's down by 6. Mind you, this is August 19th. The last poll they did in New Hampshire was August 19th. So maybe she has internals that are showing her like struggling there. I don't know. Or Trump surging a little bit. Don't know. Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota's going to go blue. I don't think that's okay. Michigan. Phew. All over the map. It's not even that some of these states, not even that they're close, it's just the polls are just all over the place. Like, I don't even know what to make of them. Like, how do you make heads or tails of this? Harris, 51-48, 3-point lead, Emerson College. Trafalgar tied. YouGov, Harris up 5. Glenn Gariff Group, never heard of that poll. Very small sample, 600 likely voters. Trump up by a point. Redfield and Wilton. Harris up by 3. I mean, yeah. Really tight. Arizona, let's check. Most polls in Arizona, most recent polls. Emerson, Insider, YouGov, Redfield, and Wilton all have Trump leading. My point about Arizona that I've been trying to make, and if people want like a justification as to why I said Arizona would go for Trump in my last electoral college prediction, is that many people in Arizona are like moderate Republican type voters, and they had no problem voting for John McCain, for Joe Biden, because they saw Biden as like a moderate guy. They saw Biden as this very, remember how they used to call them blue dog Democrats? That's how they view Biden. But the question is, are they willing to vote for Harris like they are Biden? Do they see Harris in the same light? I don't think so. So either they come back home for Trump or they don't vote at all. But either one is a vote for Trump, really, because someone not voting, that's a vote for Trump. All right. That's it. Let's scour Twitter a little bit. See if anything else is going on, and I'll close it out. I'll see if I tend to do this at the end of the stream. So those of you watching, thank you on YouTube. Please subscribe, please like, please comment. If you comment, I will read the comment. If you ask a question, I will answer. See if there's anything interesting. It looks like Barron has started school in New York City. There's many photos of that. Let's go through some polls on. I follow political polls. I don't know if you all follow political polls. They have a lot of good stuff. They post them all the time. So we got the betting markets. Will Trump and Harris debate? We got it at 95% chance. You can drop a lot of money down right now. I'm not suggesting you do that, but if someone did and they didn't debate, I mean, they'd probably get a big payout there. Again, do not take advice from me on that topic. Okay, here's 152.48 for Harris. I mean, today was just a fire hose of polling. McLaughlin, 49 Trump, 47 Harris. Rasmussen, 47-46. So when I say Trump's having a good week, I mean, he's for the first time in a while, we are seeing him leading nationally, not just in swing states, but leading nationally in many of these polls. In multiple polls, I should say. Okay. This was Nate Silver's forecast yesterday, 58% chance of winning. Today, that is 60% chance of winning. So, all right, I think that's pretty much it. Thank you, everybody, for joining. For those of you on X, for those of you on YouTube, thank you for your support. Thank you for your comments and your questions. Keep them coming in the live chat. I'm going to try and do a stream every night. Obviously, some days there's less to talk about than others. There was the news of the Tenant Media Group. I don't know if you heard about that, but maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow night. I'm going to try and get a pop filter too, because I'm even annoying myself now with it. But okay, that's it. That'll do it for this evening. Thank you once again to everyone who has subscribed. If you're watching on X, please follow me, Florida Millennial. I will hopefully have my old studio backdrop, green screen, back very soon. I'm kind of just in a new arrangement here, but I'll be doing the live stream every night, hopefully around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Try to do it earlier than that, but sometimes I can't quite get to it. And again, some nights there's a lot of news and there's a lot of new polling and there's a lot of new information. But this campaign has been wild so far. As I said at the outset, we had a time in June when Trump was leading by 7-8 points when Biden was still in the race. And then when Biden dropped out, Harris went up to +6, +7, around there. And now basically it's back even again with Trump winning some in some polls. So we have a very dynamic race, and it's going to be fun to cover it because it's going to be a lot of stuff going on. We got the debate next week. Hopefully we got a couple more debates after that. Couple more. Let's hope. Maybe one more. So we'll see how it goes. Thank you, everybody, for watching, for joining, for subscribing. If you haven't already, please subscribe, please like, please comment. I will respond to all the comments. I read all the ones in the live chat, and if you leave a comment on the post after it's posted, after the live stream's done, I will respond, and I will try and read it online on the next stream. Obviously, I can't get to all of them, but yeah. So appreciate you all. I will be back here hopefully tomorrow night, same time, same place, and we will have fun again. I appreciate everyone joining tonight and coming into the live stream and live chat. And the show is growing. The show is going to continue to grow. I try and keep posting just pre-recorded stuff, but I really like doing the live stream because I like interacting with people, and I like the live aspect of it. So, and I'm going to try. I don't know if I can or not, but I'm going to try and do the live stream the debate. If not, that's why I'm really hoping there's a second one, because the second one I will absolutely live stream it. But if there's an event I think I'm going to go to watch the debate, so I'm probably going to go do that. But if I don't go to that event, I will definitely be live streaming it here. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you tomorrow night.